आरूढशक्तेरहमो विनाशः कर्तुन्न शक्य सहसापि पंडितैः। ये निर्विकल्पाक्ष्य समाधि निश्चलाः नानन्तरानन्त भवा हि वासनाः। As we have been discussing how this ahankara makes our world stronger through the attachment with our body mind complex. And in fact, ahankara fits into everywhere and presents as the expression of itself. The body is a body as long as there is no ahankara. The moment ahankara gets into the body, that body is no more body, becomes me. The expression of ahankara, me, sometimes mine. A person is a person as long as ahankara is not connected. Moment ahankara is connected, then suddenly that person becomes my ... So everywhere we only see, look for our ahankara. In fact, that person looks to be beautiful, where ahankara, my ahankara is not connected. I'll give you a beautiful example. All over the world we know, especially whether man or woman makes no difference, man of course, if you know, bulky and you understand, portable TV comes out. It's very ugly looking. But in Ethiopia, Somalia, there is a tribe, I think starts with the Ba, some Buddha, something. In that tribe, if a man is bulky and having a tummy, is considered as the most handsome man or person. And when I saw the photo, it was really handsome for me also. Because I am not connected to that person, my ahankara is not connected. Can you see this point? I'll give another example. When you see a person who is not connected to you at all, nor going to be connected to you either, do you like somehow the person or not? Are you okay or not? Wow, good. But the moment you come to know either the person is connected or going to be connected, what will happen to you? I'll give you another example. Let us say you are going, especially with your parents. This is a very nice example, okay? Okay, those who are elderly already forget, those who have still. You are going with your parents, because there is a generation gap, so that's what I am trying to say. There is a generation gap. And others also, somebody has come with some other parents. their parents. Now if your parents make little noise or little disturbance or walk little differently, what happens to you? Whereas others' parents, if they do anything, does really matter to you unless it hurts you, unless it affects your thing. Why it happens? Because there is ahankara involved. Can you see this point? Of course, with reference to object, with reference to nature, with reference to anything that you possess or you observe or see. Whenever there is ahankara, or I would rather say, the more I connect ahankara into anything, may it be person, object, situation or anything, that situation or person becomes more, I cannot say ugly, more critical and problematic for me. That's why this ahankara plays a very big role in our life, which has been talked here very carefully. Says that, look, that the verse I gone somewhere. Okay. Aruksha shakte aham iti. Aham. So that means the ego means really sixth case, the ego, of the ego you can say, which has become what? Which has sakte aruksha. Sorry, arudha, not aruksha. Sorry, why? How it is aruksha? I'm reading it. Something. Arudha sakte. Sorry, arudha sakte. So that means who has grown, which power has become more, and which has really grown strong. That sort of ahankara. Remember, vinasa kartum na sakya, that too sahasa api. First of all, it is not that easy, that quickly you cannot destroy. Once it has grown up, once it has become strong. Not by ordinary people, remember, not like common people. Even api, by whom? Panditaihi. So here Pandita can take wise people, okay? In fact, wise people ego is more dangerous, very subtle. I am not arrogant. In fact, I am humble. You can see I am so humble. So I dress myself halfway. My, knee is visible. You understand? So that is called practicing humility. So many people do that. And we have also a great role model, So he always is available for me. However, along with that wishes, even if by panditas, wise people, because wise people, ahankara is so strong that they will not be in a position to listen to anybody or anything. At least a common person, ahankara is being challenged time to time. And especially if you are married, whether you like it or not, there will be no ahankara, okay? And if you hold on to ahankara, sorry, marriage will not work. Hopefully, my boys especially are understanding slowly, okay? If not, better understand now, okay? This is the truth, okay? Remember this much. Unless you have done some punyam in your previous life, so your wife is good. Same thing also wife case also, not that only men case. But mainly men case, because men, it doesn't work, especially after marriage, okay? We learn to be a rat, appreciate the ratness in you, not lioness, okay? Joke apart. When this ahankara becomes subtler, this is the concept here, okay? When the ahankara becomes subtler, it's not that easy to corner. Can you see this point? For a common person's ahankara, you can corner in a second, in a minute, in a day. Because that person's ahankara is gross. Whereas a learned person, especially the one who has got Shastra in his hand or her hand, has some insight to the mind, always thinking and thinking. Imagine that person. You think when you talk about his or her ahankara, when you point out his or her ahankara, will that ahankara be available to be pointed out? It will reject straight up. I know. Or will pretend. Yes. But already planning what is to be done, you understand? Always parallel. That's why we say very carefully. Remember, another point to understand. These are the tricks and techniques. When you discover a person is having parallel thinking being with you, any relationship makes no difference. You can come to a conclusion that person is equally running or functioning with ahankara. Because in a relationship, whether father, son, wife, husband, spouse, or any relationship, even if in companies, in organizations, if there is a parallel thinking continuing, definitely other person is equally egoist. I'm not saying that other person is only egoist is wrong. I'm giving benefit of doubt to both, okay? Very carefully. So that means unless the person is governed by ego, unless the person's ego is strong, cannot have parallel thinking. Hope I am not killing you all, okay? But these are the minimum things you have to understand. So how to understand whether the person is an egoist or not? Only when you discover the person is having parallel thinking. Okay, thank you. And remember, that person cannot be tamed, cannot be destroyed. Impossible. Unless and until the parallel thinking castle gets destroyed. Can you see this point? Unless and until the parallel thinking castle, because there is a castle being built on parallel thinking. Whether it will be materialized or not, that is secondary. That's not my point. Unless and until that is destroyed, the ego will not be destroyed. So that's why when it happens in a relationship, like as you all go through some way or other, now here says even if for a Pandita is much more dangerous, because there is a Shastra and person has done a lot of contemplation. It's not easy to handle that fellow. So for that person he says, look, there is no other choice. Beautiful point which I really highlight in some occasions, which is really gives talks here very nicely. Which I actually, to be very honest, I have completely forgotten this verse. Now it really reminds me very well. He says, look, how it can be happen? Nirvikalpa akhya samadhi nischala tan antara ananta bhavahi vasana iti. So for that person, only one option is left. I am using the word very carefully. One option is being left. And what is that option? That is called nirvikalpaka samadhi. Because each one will try to talk, wow, Shastra says this thing, Guru says this thing, that thing. Appa, all, most of the time is either parrots or hypocrites. Some of them are parrots, some of them are hypocrites, both. And the dangerous part is if you become both. Anyone I can understand. Because that person's ahankara is almost really difficult to manage. And that person can manage one's own ahankara only when the person literally samadhi nischala, only the person gets into what it gets into? Gets into samadhi. And what sort of samadhi? Nirvikalpaka samadhi, not savikalpa samadhi. Because that person will say, what is there? I understand, I am Brahman, I am totality, I am reality. Okay, thank you, please be sit down for 1 hour. What is there to need? Even if I keep my eyes open, I see Brahman everywhere. Sarvam khalu idam brahma iti. Dhyayati the prithvi. Prithvi is always in the meditation. I am also always in meditation. I see. I have heard this sort of discourses, okay? That's why I am trying to tell you. I have gone through. That's why I am trying to say. So what I am trying to highlight here is, only when the person gets into nirvikalpaka samadhi, ask that person who criticizes nirvikalpaka samadhi. Because where you really literally calm down your mind, still your mind, arrest your mind for few hours, few days. It can happen for few hours, it can happen for few days. Then only what will happen? You will have a holdover. This is called, holding over. It's like exactly, I would like to tell you openly. How to explain this example? Okay. Correct. This word they use. Hangover. Holdover, hangover. Now I can bring it, okay? Hangover. When a person is addicted to something, especially alcohol. This is the hangover. If I am right, they use the word hangover. My hangover is continuing. And of course, we have got another attitude called jet lag, okay? If you want to sleep longer, this is what I do sometimes, okay, to be very honest. After coming back to India, if I want to sleep, of course, which is also true, because of the time difference. So what I say, okay, I have jet lag, people understand, okay? 1 or 2 days, enjoy, nicely sleep. So jet lag, this is another expression, okay? And of course, here, jet lag is not right word, it's a hangover. Suppose you are addicted or you have taken some alcohol. That hangover continues for some time. So that how the effect of that particular food or medicine or addiction or whatever continues even if you have. And if that hangover is very strong in you, if it has created a real strong vasana in you, anytime you can really collect that hangover. As that can happen, same thing also nirvikalpaka samadhi. So once you get into nirvikalpaka samadhi, at least once, really something very nice to go through. One time, if you can get into more, it's real nice. That is something to be really lucky, to be very honest. But one time is must. Once you get into one time, literally you become free from everything, because you will have a strong willpower and also grace, which we have seen in details in Panchadashi. In fact, we took 1 or 2 classes on these aspects, the benefit of Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. I hope you remember. If not, please go back. And through that, what will happen? He says, look, only what will happen? Now the vasanas, actually, which only creates or which is the cause of our next birth or any number of birth, will be handled, will be managed. In fact, the vasanas will not have that much impact. We say it becomes dagdha vijavat iti. So dagdha vijavat means like a roasted seed. Roasted seed cannot germinate, but it is very good available as though. And of course, when you eat, wow, so nice taste. And especially how it is roasted with sand, okay? Hot sand. That's something nice, very healthy, you understand? Very good. So that is how the life, the ego should be. Ego must be there, but it should be like dagdha vijavat. Like a roasted seed, cannot germinate, must not germinate, but available for all sort of functionings. And that will happen when the person spends time or person gets into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. What does it mean here? Please understand. Nirvikalpaka Samadhi presupposes minimum few hours of nitidhyasanam every day. In this context. Whereas yoga people, few hours of meditation, closing their eyes, stilling the mind, is must. So now because of knowledge context, you will not do the dhyanam, you will get into nitidhyasanam. There is a big difference. That's why when a yogi gets into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, and when it comes out, still the ego continues, which we will see later on. Because that avarana is not taken care. The covering is not gone. But definitely that person is better. Whereas with knowledge, when you get into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, it is exactly like you are keep roasting, you are keeping, literally you keep roasting your ego through the contemplation. The knowledge is called fire. Your thought processes, the experiences with situations and all these things put together and knowledge, it's like, literally, knowledge becomes fire, and related to the knowledge teaching called sand is being heated up. And of course, when it gets heated up with the heat, now sand is nothing but what? All related sense objects. Fire, heat, teaching and all the context of teaching. Sand becomes literally, what happens? Sand gets heated up with the knowledge. Sand means the object, sense objects. And in that, center is what? In between, all the seeds. You must watch how this roasting is being done, okay? So literally you keep roasting. It gets roasted whether you like it or not. Left, right in the contemplation. Sometimes you do this way, that way. You understand? Slowly you discover what? Wow, you are out. So that's why here is being highlighted. When you get into, because remember, the end is not Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, like how yoga people talks. No. Here is being talked that to get into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi, minimum 3 to 4 hours minimum. Every day you have to spend in contemplation. That too steadily, not moving. You can say, yeah, I am contemplating while moving, while upping, like, no. Prabhuji, kaise hai? You know, people do japam, okay? You understand? They are definitely better people, okay? Don't worry. Just joke's sake, I'm saying it. Suddenly they will say to you, Prabhuji, the hand will stop here, straight away. Prabhuji, how are you? Okay. So you can say, look, I am moving around everywhere, I am doing my contemplation. No, not that sort of contemplation. Japam how to be done sitting in one place. So also, you have to sit in one place for minimum 3-4 hours every day. Then only there is a chance, there is a possibility that you will get into Nirvikalpaka Samadhi. There is no guarantee. That's why we say very carefully, technically speaking, the person is supposed to have asana siddhi first. Unless the person has got asana siddhi, should not do pranayama. In fact, this is what we are going to talk in our pranayama sessions. This is one point, okay? The bullet point. Unless the person has got asana siddhi, if you cannot do siddhi in any asana, at least in savasana, okay? And I am not telling you jokes, I have tried, I have failed. I can sit in Padmasana, I can sit in Sukhasana, of course. Absolutely no problem. If you ask me in Savasana for 45 minutes, very difficult. Unless, you understand? Unless I sleep. So, however, coming to the point here is that asana siddhi brings this pranayama. Because why we say this thing? This is a link I am giving it. Because when you are able to accomplish this, accomplishing asana means being in a posture for a given length of time, minimum 45 minutes. Now your prana movement becomes in one way. So your prana is available for you for one purpose. Then only that person learns pranayama or practices pranayama will have impact. Can you see this point? Not teaching pranayama in the gym. Nowadays they won't say pranayama, breathing exercise, breathing technique. Good. Let them be there wherever. They should not extend more than. Because to attract people, because that is called attract customers, not people. Attract customers. That's the right thing to do. So here is being highlighted. So what is to be done? Now, it is not that easy to handle my ahankara. So when it is not that easy to handle my ahankara, so only one thing is left to me. So what is left to me? So people are busy their work. I told them not to do any noise. Anyway, let them do. I cannot help. Every time I really cannot. I cannot take 1 minute. I'll get back to you. भाई साहब, listen. मेरे नीचे जाओ. क्या नहीं हुआ? मैं बताया था आज मैं क्लास में हूँ ना. ये क्या कर रहे हैं? मैं आपको बता के गया था आवाज देना पता है ना? बैठ जाओ. मैं अभी क्लास कौन के आया हूँ? ले भाग. मेरी बात सुनने के लिए आप तैयार नहीं. आपके हिसाब से काम करें तो मैं क्या करूँ? क्लास में सारी हो गई है. लेकर ही बोले. I am I'm extremely sorry. Even if I shout at the person doesn't understand why you are asking. Because each time new fellows are coming, okay? And I am tired. How many times I have to tell? And I request them, no, give me this much time for this, okay? After that, do whatever you want. This is my life, okay? No problem. Coming to the point. Oh. Good. Now let us look at the next verse. Aham buddhevo mohina yajayitva bruter balat. Vikshepa sakti purusham vikshepayati tat gunai. Says beautifully, aham buddhya eva. So because of aham buddhi, or with the help of ahankara, or you can say the discriminative faculty governed by ahankara. And when it happens alone, because also discriminative faculty can be governed situation or what is right. This is how supposed to be. That is the job of the discriminative faculty. But generally what my ahankara do? My ahankara literally takes over or becomes boss on my discriminative faculty. And there I lose my discrimination completely. And that is what he says. It becomes mohinya. So it gets a mohini sakti. Mohini sakti means completely deluded. So deluding power. Because ahankara becomes really so strong, the person loses everything. Yojayitva abrute balat. And because of that reason, what happens? Now, because of this reason, now abrute balat. So there is a, completely covering power. And because of that reason, because it is being completely covered by this ahankara, then it comes what? Vikshepa sakti. So vikshepa sakti means projection starts, the power of a projection. And because of the power of projection, and of course, this person, vikshepayati tad gunaihi, automatically that person distracts himself. And for what? Tad gunaihi. Whatever the effects that you imagine or ahankara thinks of, through that effects, that guna qualities, now there is agitation related to that. So in short, all our projection is connected to ahankara, and that too when this ahankara gets into that, this is called avarana sakti. So avarana sakti means called ignorance. Automatically this ahankara with ignorance becomes arrogance. Can you see this point? And of course, because of my arrogance, what is arrogance? Arrogance is nothing. Projecting something and holding on to my projection, depending on my projection. If I project that this is sariram, this body is going to give me longevity, power, position. This is my projection. Now believing in it and depending on it, Now, will I become arrogant with reference to my body or not? Same thing also with reference to family, with reference to power position, with reference to your assets, with reference to anything that you have. So here is very nicely, when this ahankara first takes over the discriminative faculty. So once discriminative faculty is being taken over, now gets connected with avarana sakti, with ignorance automatically. And then we don't have anything to do other than succumbing to, embracing vikshepa, projection. Once there is projection, of course the person's mind starts getting distracted. From the present situation, the person only keeps dwelling upon the gunas, the qualities of the thinking, whatever has brought in. So from the reality, from the given situation, mind always either goes to the future or goes to past. Is it clear? Okay. If this is the case, so what is to be done? Let us now read next verse, okay? Vikshepa sakti vijayo vishamo vidhatum nisheshamavarana sakti nibritya bhave drugdrishyayo sputapayo jalabat vibhage nasyat tada varanamatmani cha swabhavat nisansayena bhavati pratibandha shunyaha vikshepanam nahi tada yadi chen mrisharthe. Says beautifully, vikshepa shakti vijayah vishamah iti vidhatum vishamah, and that too nishesham, means that vishamah, extremely difficult. And of course, how nishesham, without any remainings, means completely to destroy vikshepa sakti vijaya, completely to win over the projecting power, is really extremely difficult. Some time or other, the projection power will take over. In fact, people leave because of projection. I am not telling you jokes. Common people derives happiness only on hopes. And what is hope? Hope is nothing but projection. Imagine if all your hopes are taken away. Will you feel like we are alive? A common person. Hey, you are supposed to be alive, okay? Please understand. Because if you don't alive, that means what? This teaching is waste, okay? So that means somehow people wants to hold on to, people wants to live with their projection. But here that's why it's being highlighted differently. Vikshepa Shakti Vijaya, winning over. Vikshepa Shakti is really extremely difficult to achieve, and moreover, completely means without any remainings. Not that easy. He says beautifully, but it is also possible. How it is possible? He gives a beautiful point. Avarana nivrutti abhavi. So avarana nivrutti means, say avarana shakti nivrutti means, the Shakti, the power of veiling, the power of covering means ignorance. So if there is absence of ignorance, only eliminating, only removing, only throwing light upon ignorance. And what is that ignorance? The ignorance that is related to Druk and Drushya. This is a beautiful point. The relationship between Druk and Drushya.